Think we got about another 10 minutes or so, but I'll just leave it there. Any complaints about this bootleg style, just let me know so I can fix it before it starts.
78 degrees and sunshine at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on pole day for the 101st running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Drivers racing the clock for 4 laps around the framed Brickyard to see who gets those coveted front row starting spots for the greatest spectacle in racing. Alan Bestwick, Eddie Cheever, Scott Goodyear with you. Drivers have been running now for since about 2:45 Eastern Time, about an hour and 45 minutes, setting starting positions 10 through 33. The cars have been running in reverse order of their completed speeds from yesterday's first qualification attempt. Once we get through that, the 9 fastest from yesterday will make a run, with the fastest getting pole position for next Sunday's race. Here is Team Penske's Joseph Newgarden getting set to roll out onto the racetrack. The 26-year-old from the Nashville area in his 6th Indianapolis 500. He qualified on the front row a year ago. Newgarden with a 3rd place finish in this race last year. He's had a crash already this week on Thursday. Now he's heading out onto the speedway to begin his warm-up laps. So while we watch Newgarden get warmed up, Eddie and Scott, yesterday we saw the risk-reward balance here at the Speedway vividly illustrated when Sebastian Bourdais had a terrible crash. Now these drivers have processed that. They go back out again to try and push that 230, 231 mile an hour barrier. By this point in the day, where a number of drivers have already made runs, is that gone? Is it still in their minds? How do they process what happened yesterday into what they're going to do today?
The most important thing that happened from yesterday to today is that they know that Sebastian did not have a mechanical failure. He just took too big of a bite out of the apple. He lost control of his car and he had a horrific accident, but he was okay. He's had his hips operated on. What they've had time to do is digest all that, and they've seen cars drive around today. There haven't been any accidents, but they know that that barrier that you have to break to be on pole is going to be that magical 231 miles an hour that only Sebastian managed to break yesterday.
And overall, for every driver that's going out today, Eddie, you talk about running that fine line. It's a trust relationship with the engineer. You hear a lot about the weather conditions, about setting up the car. As we watch now, Joseph Newgarden take the green flag. His goal, maybe he achieved it, have his foot flat on the gas through turns 1. We've talked about turn 2 earlier on the ESPN show, about turn 2, the wind is pushing the car around. He would have known that from the other drivers that were already participating in qualifying. The driver has to look up at the windsock every time he goes down the straightaway, see how the wind direction is forcing the car to handle differently for him, and also how strong that wind is. And as a driver, you need to make sure you make the right decisions and hope the engineers that you have that trust relationship with have also made the right decisions for your car to handle its optimum.
It's all very tricky stuff.
Glad to report that after suffering several fractures in his pelvis and undergoing surgery last night, team owner Dale Coyne reports that Bourdais resting well today. They have named James Davison to substitute for Bourdais in the Indianapolis 500. More on that later in our ABC coverage. First, though, Joseph Newgarden on the track for Team Penske. Again, on the front row a year ago, driving here for the first time for the powerful Penske team, 16-time winners of the Indianapolis 500, and yet they seem to have lacked a little of the expected speed that we normally see in comparison to some others.
That is very rare for Penske because they have always been in control of their destiny, or at least most of the time when they come to Indy. We are in the middle of a great battle between the Chevy engine and the Honda engine, and Penske's that was close to the wall. This battle between these two engines, and Penske obviously is running Chevy, but it's Pagenaud's car, for example, has been maybe 2 miles an hour off, which is a lot at Indy. So everybody's still trying to find that speed, but they're running out of time.
Now that's in qualifying trim.
In qualifying.
Race trim, well, that can be another whole story for Roger Penske, fielding 5 entries in this race. Newgarden's car, you can tell by looking at some of the aerodynamic bits and pieces that are on it, particularly across that back wing. It's not in full-out qualifying mode. They're playing a somewhat conservative hand here to just get the car in the field, comfortably.
And very close to turn 2 wall on the exit. And you're mentioning that on the back wing there, you can see some extra winglets, more pieces back there, putting downforce on the car, making it grip more on the turn. That means sometimes maybe they don't have that, they call the mechanical grip through the tires, getting grip on the racetrack itself. But very unlike Penske, as you mentioned, Eddie, as we now watch him completing his 4th lap at 227 miles an hour, so a big drop from his previous laps, and you can see there that the car is starting to go slower as the run goes on.
So Joseph Newgarden is done, and that leaves us now 7 drivers to go before we get to that Fast 9 shootout. And a formal greeting from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Alan Bestwick with the 1998 champion of the race, Eddie Cheever, 2-time runner-up Scott Goodyear. Pole day for a driver. Exciting, nerve-wracking what?
Nerve-wracking. Very nerve-wracking. Because you've reached the point where you don't know how to make your car go any quicker. The engineer looks at you and he says, well, I'll do this, this, and this, and trust me. It's very hard to trust somebody when you don't know where you're going, and you have to keep your foot down all the way for 4 laps, and it's just your mind goes almost numb. I've always found this bit of the weekend of the month of May to be the most difficult.
And they say the 4 laps here in qualifying, the 10 miles, are the toughest that you'll ever do, and I agree. And it's because it's really up to the driver at that point in time to get the most out of the car. And we talked about qualifying trim and race trim. The qualifying trim is you take all the pieces off the car to make it go as quick as it can down the straightaway, but conversely what happens is it doesn't have a whole lot of grip in the turns itself. The car slides across the racetrack. We just saw with Joseph Newgarden, the time started to go slower because the car is sliding. The car is sliding, folks, at 230 miles an hour. So as a driver, is by far the toughest thing that you'll ever do.
Now, one bit of news, if you're just joining us on ABC and weren't with us on the streaming coverage earlier, Fernando Alonso's team, after the warm-up, decided to go for an engine change. They have to have that car in the tech lane by 4:15 Eastern Time. 8 minutes from now, you see they're rolling it back from their garage stall and heading for the tech line now. So obviously they're going to make it in time, but they had about 16 people, I think. Rick DeBrule's been watching that for us down in the garage. They had like 16 or 18 people around the car all at once performing the work to get the 2-time Formula One champion to the tech line in time with a fresh power plant under the engine cover on that car. Here is Graham Rahal, the 28-year-old son of the 1986 Indy 500 champion, wanting to win one for himself, driving for the team owned by his father, Bobby, David Letterman, and Chicago. Oh, there's a close call. Chicago area businessman Mike Lanigan.
See him reaching down with his right hand, just trying to make a quick couple of adjustments. Be working on the anti-roll bar or using the weight jacker there, but we saw his hands very busy.
Did a very good first lap. Almost 231 miles an hour. Let's see how he turns now into that very difficult turn 2 today.
Had his hands full there, Jan Beekes.
Yes, he did, and I can tell you the changes they made just before Graham Rahal rolled out. Scott just finished saying in qualifying you stripped the downforce off the car, but right now with a track temperature of 113, they added about 50 pounds of overall downforce for Graham Rahal. You can see even with that, he's been fighting it at the exit of the corners, but it is giving him speed.
First lap, almost 231 miles an hour. Second lap, just under 230. Back into the 230s on that lap, but here he comes again to that tricky turn 2.
So as Jan mentioned, they add a little bit of downforce, and here we hear him pedaling back off the throttle again in 2. Can you imagine what he would have if they didn't add the downforce right now? That would be very, very tough to drive.
But this is definitely an improvement as to where he was running yesterday.
Very much so.
Yesterday's 4-lap average for Graham Rahal was 228.835. Everyone has been a little bit faster today. Rahal will be up over 230 at 230.253 for the 4-lap average. Mikaela Loshon set to go along with former 500 winners Helio Castroneves and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
What do you see? Perfection? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect. 11-0.
The Western Conference Finals. Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
Catch the MLS Soccer Sunday action today. First on ESPN, it's Minnesota versus LA. Then on FS1, it's Orlando versus New York City.
Take a look in the mirror. What do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived? 'Cause I'm only human after all. You're only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
The Western Conference Finals. Stream every game live on the ESPN app. Download the ESPN app today. What do you see? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect.
Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
I drive a Maserati. I got paper too.
Okay, and I'm happy to take it.
Indy 500, Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ABC.
Home run, Miguel Cabrera.
Sunday Night Baseball. Rangers, Tigers, tonight at 8 on ESPN.
Warriors, Spurs. Coverage begins at 8 tomorrow on ESPN.
ESPN Films presents One and Not Done. Tonight at 9 on ESPN.
Scott? Did you possibly switch chairs with me?
No, not me.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Good luck finding your chair, LeBron.
Okay. Okay.
Heineken tastes perfect every single time, and that doesn't happen by accident. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster, almost as long as it took me to master this look.
She came to meet a man. She found an angel. What's his name now?
Still practicing. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster. There's more behind the star.
Tomorrow, here at the Speedway, when they go into race practice mode, looking to see if he can better what has been his best 500 start so far of 7th. Well, he can't better that because he can't start any higher than 10th, but better his best finish. How's that? Of 21st, which was a couple of years ago.
He's on a very good run. He's done 2 laps above 230. Let's see if he drops off, Scott, like the other drivers have the last 2 laps.
His lines have been very nice, very tidy, and we keep talking about the wind, and the driver needs to compensate for the wind and the track conditions. The track is definitely getting hotter, although we start to see just a little bit of a shadow on the entrance to turn 1. But making sure that you compensate for, whoa, looks like the back end just want to come around on him a little bit there at the exit. Probably just having to put a little bit more steering into the car to keep it off the wall. But lucky for him, that's the last time through that troubled turn 2 that we're having today because of the wind. And as the run runs on, the tires start to just wear a little bit, get a little bit warm, and the grip goes away. But a nice clean run for Mikhail Aleshin.
Just slipped below 230 on that last lap, but the 4-lap average, 230.271, second fastest of those that have run today, bumping Graham Rahal down to third fastest of those that have made a run. Doc?
And we were with Graham Rahal. Graham, we heard they added a little bit of downforce before you went out, but you still had some moments, some close calls in turn 2. Take us through that run.
But when you add, compared to when we ran this morning,
because of the ambient, which isn't a ton different, but the track temp is significantly higher. It really washes out. So obviously the car had pace. We just were a little lighter than Oriole, and I'm glad it's over. I was hanging on. I think had we been able to add a little more and be comfortably flat, then I think we're the fastest car of today. But we just turn 2 was ugly. Turn 2 was massive push. Turn 4 felt like I was sideways the whole way through. So you got wind direction, stuff like that. But look, our Steak and Shake boys have worked hard. It's good that we found some speed in both cars today. Obviously, I'm disappointed not to be the fastest of, and qualify 10th, but it's the way it goes.
Graham Rahal, let's check in with Rick DeBrule. We're back here in the tech line where Fernando Alonso's car has now been moved into position. Let's explain what happened. They had to practice a little bit earlier today, kind of a final run before they were going to go out for the actual race itself, or for the qualifying this afternoon. The Honda engineers didn't like some of the data they saw, but they didn't have enough time to really search through the problem. The only option was to either search to figure out if there was a problem or simply change an engine. What they decided to do was very simply change the engine. Normally it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. They had a little under 2 hours to pull it off, and they did it. Just moments ago, as you saw, they rolled into the tech line. Now, once again, just replacing the engine is only part of the issue. Then you have to do all the setup work, make sure all the bits and pieces. Because once you go across the tech line, you can only make changes to the wing angle or the tire pressure. That means this car, as you see it right now, has got to be ready for its qualification run. They pulled it off. It's here, ready to go. In a short time, we're going to find out how well it does. Alan?
All right, Rick, thanks. Fernando Alonso yesterday making that Fast 9 with his 4-lap run. Very solid effort for his first attempt at Indianapolis. He was 7th fastest overall, and we will see those Fast 9 drivers in a little while. It seems like somebody has a engine change, tech line, deadline drama every year. It was Scott Dixon a year ago. This year, it was Alonso's team. Here's Helio Castroneves, the 3-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, 4-time pole winner, looking to see what kind of a starting spot he can arrange for himself to go for what would be a record-tying 4th win in the greatest spectacle in racing next Sunday.
He's definitely a master at the Indianapolis 500. He knows how to use everything that Penske puts available to their drivers, and he's got to be working on a battle plan towards the 500. Right now, I think he just wants to get it into the show and not do anything too risky. Scott?
Well, they're all battling to try to be the best of this group, which you heard Graham talk about, want to be 10th. But for Elio right now, he's slotted in somewhere around the 13th, so he might be able to find a little bit more speed. 13th on our chart, but now 17th to 16th, so we'll see what happens when he goes across the line. That will give his actual lap time, but for what the man we affectionately know as Spider-Man for climbing the fence every time he wins an event, he's got to be very frustrated. I saw him in the garage this morning. Did not look like the usual jovial Helio Castroneves, so a lot of pressure on him to get some speed out of his car today.
He's the only driver in the field that if he wins Indy this year will go into that very rare field of 4-time winners. And he would be the first non-American to be in that grouping. And I think in all of motor racing, I don't know of anything that has the weight of winning Indianapolis 500 4 times.
They are all legends. All those names that have done it. A.J. Foyt, Al Unser, Rick Mears, they are legends of the sport. And Helio Castroneves looking to join that club. Not having the flat-out speed, but having some very consistent laps. That one, though, down into the low 229s. I'm interested here because when we saw Joseph Newgarden out earlier in one of the other Team Penske entries, they had a lot more of the little bits and pieces and winglets on the back of the car than Castroneves does here. That's a pretty stripped-down model.
It seems like they keep going around the problem, and they haven't quite put their finger on what they need to do to go faster. It's like they've been missing 1 to 2 miles the whole time they've been here. I mean, in essence, that is the same car that Ed Carpenter was fastest with yesterday. Same engine, same chassis.
Checkered flag for Castroneves. He'll be 229.515 for his 4-lap average. That is basically about the same he ran yesterday, while most have picked up just a little bit from yesterday to today. Jan Beekes is on pit lane for us.
And there's been a lot happening down here on the line, of course, leading up the qualification line itself. Interestingly, everyone watches what every other car does. They are well aware that Graham Rahal added some downforce because now we have a track temperature of 115 degrees. So they listened to our broadcast, they heard what Graham Rahal said, and it kind of went a person down. You hear right now we have Ryan Hunter-Reay, who just rolled out onto the racetrack. His team descended on his car immediately, started adding downforce because A, they see what Graham Rahal did, they can see his split times, they listen to the broadcast, they get his debrief, say, hey, the trick today, add some downforce, get it stuck because of that high track temperature.
All right, Gon, thanks. So Hunter-Reay out to do his warm-up laps for his 10th Indianapolis 500. Where will he start? Well, a couple of years ago, we know where he finished. After a thrilling back-and-forth duel with Helio Castroneves, Hunter-Reay came out on top, watched the pass that wound up being the move that got it done. Almost in the grass entering turn number 3. He and Castroneves put on a classic duel in the closing laps of that race. And Hunter-Reay wound up getting to the checkered flag first. The Fort Lauderdale, Florida driver sipping the milk and celebrating the great victory of winning the Indianapolis 500. Well, we talked to Ryan yesterday before qualifying. I'll describe him as a little bit agitated might be a strong word. Good shower of sparks there. Would it be a strong word? I mean, you were with me, Scott, when we talked to him.
And apprehensive.
Yeah.
You know, then you're that way as a driver. When you're searching for speed, you want to go faster, but you're not getting a real confident answer from the engineers. And, you know, I was in the Andretti garage this morning, and they certainly felt like they had some answers from yesterday from looking at some data, and thought the drivers were maybe going to do something just a little bit different than they did during their run, make some changes on the car, and they anticipated that they would have some strong cars for qualifying. So we're about ready to find out.
There's nothing that a race car driver hates more than uncertainties going into qualifying.
Especially when you're going into turn 3 there at 238 miles an hour.
Yes. You know, I always like to tell people, you know, we all travel on airplanes. Well, airplanes rotate and take off at, 160, 65, 70 miles an hour. You know, we all feel the speed, and especially when we even land on airplanes. You know, this is 230 miles an hour that we're going. And so for him right now, 231, which is outstanding.
That's a big lap.
He's only the second driver to have done that in qualifying. And the other one was Bourdais.
The 231.
Yes, the 231. This is a really good run. And he's quite a long way away from the wall.
As we ride along, as we watch him in the cockpit on the left-hand side, just listen to the throttle note as he goes through the turns. It will tell you how the car is working. Knew he was going to get close to the wall, but kept his foot into it. This is another excellent lap.
He came off that corner at 231.
I know. We have not seen many of those. I'd say they answered all of his questions with this setup.
Yeah, you hear the tone of the engine going down just a little bit here as the run continues.
He's making very minor adjustments to the steering wheel. Watch his hands.
Here, as I mentioned, that drown in the motor just a little bit, but not very much at all. This is going to be another great lap.
Powered by Honda.
Checkered flag. Ryan Hunter-Reay about to set the fastest average run of the weekend. 231.442 miles an hour. So Hunter-Reay to the top of the board for that group, 10th, and more to come, including the Fast 9, when we'll find out who starts on the pole.
Heineken tastes perfect every single time, and that doesn't happen by accident. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster. almost as long as it took me to master this look.
She came to meet a man. She found an angel. What's his name now?
Still practicing. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster. There's more behind the star.
Starbucks Nariño 70 cold brew coffee. In stores now, only at Starbucks.
Sunday Night Baseball, Rangers, Tigers, tonight at 8 on ESPN.
What do you see? Perfection? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect. 11-0.
The Western Conference Finals. Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
Catch the MLS Soccer Sunday action today. First on ESPN, it's Minnesota versus LA. Then on FS1, it's Orlando versus New York City.
As we proceed to give you what you need.
Might you take a role with the Lakers?
If I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I want to be the heir to the throne. That boy can have his own money.
All right.
Drive a Maserati. I got paper too.
Okay, and I'm happy to take it.
Man, we playing down with Ice Cube.
You gotta do it. But here's the thing is that if you're the type of person that dishes it out, you better be the type of person that can take it. No. See, you just...
ESPN Films presents One and Not Done. Tonight at 9 on ESPN.
The Indy 500, Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ABC.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
What do you see? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect.
Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN. The Western Conference Finals. Stream every game live on the ESPN app. Download the ESPN app today. Warriors, Spurs. Coverage begins at 8 tomorrow on ESPN.
Scott? Did you possibly switch chairs with me?
No, not me.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Good luck finding your chair, LeBron.
Okay. Okay.
On the track, taking the white flag after 3 of his 4 laps of qualifying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 26-year-old from Reigate, England in the London area has put up some really fast numbers, but has also had a big whoa moment in turn 2 a lap ago. See how he does here?
And once you have a whoa moment like he did in turn 2 the previous lap, that is on your mind all the time when you enter into that turn again. And it's trouble sometimes to be able to keep your foot on the gas pedal, because sometimes your foot has a brain of its own. It just sort of lifts close to the wall again on the exit.
Looking across the top of the screen, his first 2 laps in the 231s, then lost a couple of miles an hour with that big checkup off of turn number 2, and has not recovered from that. He'll still put a 4-lap average up over 230. Watch this.
Oh, he's way offline.
And just a slight touch of the wall.
Wow. I think that's almost like a kiss. That wasn't even...
Well, still maybe just enough to turn around and knock the toe alignment out of the suspension. That means where the wheel's sitting on the back, and it creates a very nervous race car.
Turn 2's the turn today.
That'd be an inappropriate kiss that can turn into a slap in a moment. Just saying. Tomorrow night on ESPN, Game 4 of the NBA Western Conference Finals. Golden State, San Antonio, Warriors up 3-0, looking to close it out and advance to the NBA Finals for a 3rd straight year. Coverage at 8 Eastern with NBA Countdown. And, of course, the NBA Finals begin here on ABC on Thursday, June 1st. Ryan Hunter-Reay has posted the fast speed of the day so far. Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, down here with Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's just talking with Marco Andretti, giving him the rundown, and obviously you got to be happy with that, but how much did you have to hang on to that? How hard was that run?
That was crazy. It was white knuckle the whole time. I don't think I took a breath. It felt like the entire 4 laps, but it's a shame that we're not in the Fast 9 because certainly our speed should be there. We had an early draw the other day. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's the Indy 500 next Sunday is the only thing that counts, and the good thing is I really have to thank the 28 crew, DHL, and everybody at Andretti Autosport for giving me a great car the past week and a half. Hopefully we can transfer that and execute next Sunday. That's the important thing. So I wish my kids and my wife were here. Hi to the family at home type of thing, but it's next Sunday that matters. So go back with the teammates now. We'll talk about it and try and get Andretti Autosport a pole, even though I won't be taking part in it.
All right, once again, Ryan Hunter-Reay, not in the Fast 9, but a very good white-knuckle run.
Jan Beekes was telling us about a radio transmission to Hunter-Reay when Jan was talking about all the jumping on and making adjustments as we watched Charlie Kimball get going on his run. Said they called Hunter-Reay and said, we made some adjustments and be very careful in turns 3 and 4.
How comforting.
Yeah, how comforting. I'll bet he was holding his breath there. So Kimball, who has had top 5 finishes in the 500 the last 2 years, 3rd in 2015, 5th a year ago, looking to get going here. He was over 230 miles an hour on his first lap, but was it one of those inappropriate kisses again?
Everybody's really high. Oh,
yeah,
my.
See, those wheels are up. Oh, you saw the bodywork move there just a little bit.
Wow.
But as you mentioned,
it's not so much where they are on the wall. They're so high up before they get to it.
Yeah, so he's probably felt something's not... Oh, there we go.
Yeah, now that was more than a kiss.
Yeah.
So that was a slap. Don't do that.
Boy, no, don't do that.
So the windsock on the front stretch shows the trick that's going on in turn 2. That wind blowing towards the second corner. And as the cars cross right here, that wind is catching them and assisting them more to the outside than they would.
Pushing the car, making it difficult to turn in. But the wind is really inconsistent. Sometimes there's nothing to the windsock, and sometimes there is. It's varying between 1 and 3 miles an hour.
Well, Eddie, you and I know, and we've heard drivers talk about all week, that we don't mind what the wind is doing as long as it's consistent. Scott Dixon said that very well earlier in the week on that windy Wednesday that we had. Hey, I don't mind how gusty or how windy it is as long as it's not gusty. So when it changes like it is today, it makes it very difficult to drive a car very consistently.
If you don't like the weather in Indiana, just wait 30 minutes and it will change.
Wow.
Man, that is close.
See, the car grips at the very last minute, and I've had this race situation before that you're trying to turn the car into the turn, it's not responding, so it pushes, and you keep turning more steering wheel into it, and finally at the last minute it grabs, but you don't want to take your foot off the gas, so you actually just have to really get to a moment where you have to brave it.
14th is the best that Charlie Kimball has started the Indianapolis 500. His 4-lap average, 229.956, will put him 15th on the grid. With 1 car to go in this Group 1. Then we get to the Fast 9, who will start no matter what in the front 3 rows of the 500.
So, Alan, what seems to be happening is everybody is going quicker. A lot of people are in the 230s, but they drop off. It'll be the car that's the best balance that can maintain that speed all the way through the 4 laps that I think will have a shot at pole. And we might even see some 232s.
The fastest cars from yesterday are those yet to come. So here is Ed Jones, one of the newcomers to the 500 this year. The 22-year-old, originally from Great Britain, now from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, driving for Dale Coyne Racing, had a couple of top 10 finishes already this year. This is his first try here at Indianapolis, and yesterday put together a terrific 4-lap run that put him 10th overall at over 229.7 miles an hour.
He was just bumped out of that Fast 9 just at the very last minute, but just a little bit of shake on the car there, maybe trying to warm up.
No, that was him. I think he was trying to warm up
the tires, and everybody has a different type of preference of what they do when they leave pit lane.
A great graduate from the Indy Lights Series. Definitely does not lack the courage to keep his foot on the throttle for 4 laps around here.
And we know that these cars are fast because he is the teammate of Sebastian Bourdais, who had all that speed yesterday before having the crash in turn 2.
More on Ed Jones from Jan.
And yesterday he said in qualifying, Ed Jones, that his car was loose, that he did not have the kind of car that Sebastian Bourdais did, so they did run this morning's practice and felt as though they have tidied up the car, and he expects the car, in his mind, will be better on the later laps. Yesterday, it started off quick, and he started to lose the rear of the car. They've adjusted it, and he hopes that is going to be the speed that he'll be able to maintain throughout instead of just the first lap.
So let's see how he approaches the infamous turn 2 today. Oh, a lot of room left.
A lot of room, very neat and tidy. Speed on the right-hand side, 235 miles an hour. Top speed.
It's a little off what we've seen some of the faster cars in this group do entering turn 3. We've seen some 237, 238s there. First lap, 230.897 for Jones.
I have a feeling he might be carrying a bit more downforce than the other cars that have gone in front of him. Let's see how he is in 2.
Well, if they're looking for consistency, as Jan was talking about, the downforce will certainly help that, but it certainly won't give you the straightaway speed that we've been seeing, as Alan just mentioned, but the consistency will be there.
The key is not dropping off those last 2 laps. Very tidy run, great lines.
And as you mentioned, a little bit more room to the wall, certainly could run a little bit higher if he wished to.
230.789 on the second lap.
This lap is key. That might be the safest line we've seen through 2 at these speeds. He's leaving himself a lot of room. The car obviously has a lot of grip.
Team owner Dale Coyne, you saw walking on the right-hand side, and they want a safe run here, guys, because it's a smaller team that's in this racing series right now, and you don't want to put another car against the wall and create a lot of work for the team to get another car repaired after a crash.
Another 230.
Boy, as a rookie, you have to be very happy with this.
Two more corners to go.
Well, it seems like about 1,000 miles, Alan, sometimes.
And I guarantee you, he's counting how many are left.
There is Dale Coyne.
Dale Coyne's cars around Indy are really competitive this year.
Former driver turned owner. If you're driving down I-55 from Chicago toward Joliet, you pass his race team's headquarters right alongside the highway. Checkered flag and 4 laps at over 230 miles an hour for Ed Jones. That is second fastest of those that have run today. At the moment, not at the moment, that's the end of Group 1. He will line up 11th for the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
It's an outstanding run.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, fastest. He'll start 10th. Now the Fast 9 coming up. That will include Marco Andretti. That begins to unfold after this message.
It's a nail-biter here in Indy.
No OT tonight. Ball game.
With the smooth finish.
Real smooth. When you got flow, you know. New Gatorade Flow. All the flavor with a new smooth finish.
The Western Conference Finals. Stream every game live on the ESPN app. Download the ESPN app today.
What do you see? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect.
Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
If you love this game, stand for it. Stand behind your club. Stand in awe of the incredible Golazzos, the unbelievable saves, and a crowd united by passion. MLS, stand as one. Catch the MLS Soccer Sunday action today. First on ESPN, it's Minnesota versus LA. Then on FS1, it's Orlando versus New York City.
Indy 500, Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ABC. Telecast presented by Firestone.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
As we proceed to give you what you need. We're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and the hoax and the hack on his Instagram account. If I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I want to be the heir to the throne. That boy can have his own money.
Sunday Night Baseball, Rangers, Tigers, tonight at 8 on ESPN. ESPN Films presents One and Not Done, tonight at 9 on ESPN.
Scott? Did you possibly switch chairs with me?
No, not me.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Good luck finding your chair, LeBron.
Okay. Okay.
Fans out in turn 3 enjoying pole day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Fast 9 coming up to set the first 3 rows of starters in the 101st Indianapolis 500 next Sunday. We just finished setting positions 10 through 33 in the 500 field, and a look now that group headed by former winner Ryan Hunter-Reay, with a solid run from Ed Jones as well to join him in row 4 along with Oriol Servia.
I'm really anxious to see what these Fast 9 are going to do, because looking at the times that you've seen from Hunter-Reay, I think is going to be really, really exciting.
Pablo Montoya back in row 6. Elio Castro-Neves will be back in row number 7 for the race. Simon Pagenaud, Joseph Newgarden, a couple of the Penske cars back in row number 8 for the 500. And a couple of the other rookies in the field. You see Jack Harvey from England back in row number 9. And the last story on this field of 33 will be James Davison. He will be substituting for Sebastian Bourdais in the Dale Coyne Racing entry. Bourdais running 2 laps over 231 miles an hour yesterday and suffering a vicious crash on the 3rd lap. We're going to give you an update on Bourdais in just a few moments' time here and bring you the latest on what's going on there. For now, we wrap up that Group 1 qualifying session by talking with a couple of more drivers who just finished their runs. We go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And I'm with Charlie Kimball. As you saw, he's on the inside of row 6, faster than yesterday, Charlie, but you had your hands full. As you said a moment ago, we were in commercial, you used the turn 2 wall to make an adjustment on the car. What happened?
Yeah, it just as I got into turn 2, the wind picked me up a little bit. The Novo Nordisk car kind of took off towards the wall, and it's qualifying for the Indianapolis 500. You don't lift until you have to, and I had to as I brushed the wall. It used the right rear to square the car up a little bit. Unfortunately, from there, the run was a little compromised, but I feel really good about our race car going into tomorrow's prep and then carb day and then for the race next weekend. So I needed to, even though qualifying matters, it's 500 miles around this place, I needed to make sure that I brought the car home in one place. We started as best as possible. I would have liked to have been over that 230 number. You feel pretty awesome when you see a 230 average speed on your dash.
Now, we were told that your 2 teammates, Tony Kanaan and Scott Dixon, are about to roll in the Fast 9 qualifying for the pole. And they were waiting to get your input after your run to see what changes they should make. What kind of input have you been able to give that will help those guys with their setup?
Well, I think both Max and I will go down and talk to them, let them know what the conditions are doing, just so they can be mentally prepared for it. The help I had from Max prepared me, so I think I did a little better than I would have had I not known that. And setup-wise, I think they'll make some adjustments. It seemed I think it's hotter than anyone was expecting today. The sun's out, the track temp's way up. So I think the grip's maybe not as good as we had hoped. So we'll let them know that.
hopefully they can make some adjustments if they need to, because our goal today is to put a Chip Ganassi racing car on the pole.
Hey, thank you, Charlie.
Thanks.
We'll see if the input from Charlie Kimball can help his teammates Scott Dixon and Tony Kanaan. Now, a few minutes ago, our Rick DeBrule caught up with Marco Andretti. Rick?
All right, Marco Andretti, earlier your teammate went out and did a pretty darn good run. What have you learned from him to hopefully make a fast run and make it maybe a little more comfortable?
We're pretty different mechanically, so we got to take it with a grain of salt, but I think maybe just a little bit on the aero side we took from him. Track conditions are very tricky right now. 2 has become the toughest corner on the track, and even more so now with the tailwind. So, you go into there with not a lot of downforce. So it's going to be interesting, but it'll be fun.
How different are all the setups of the different Andretti drivers? You can't just take one from the next. You all drive a little differently, correct?
Not really. I think there's probably 2 setups amongst the 6 of us or something like that. On the ovals, everybody, grip is grip.
Once again, Marco Andretti in that Fast 9, obviously looking for the fastest run of the day.
Grip is grip. Marco Andretti hopes he's got enough of it to put an Andretti on the pole. This will be continuing a long line, 46 years of an Andretti driving in the Indianapolis 500. Mario started in 1965. Marco in 2017.
Sunday Night Baseball, Rangers.
Alright guys, I'm gonna get rid of that beeping. Don't worry about that.
Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ABC. Telecast presented by Firestone.
Warriors, Spurs. Coverage begins at 8 tomorrow on ESPN.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
Western Conference Finals. Stream every game live on the ESPN app. Download the ESPN app today.
Catch the MLS Soccer Sunday action on ESPN and FS1.
What do you see? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect.
Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN. What do you see? Perfection? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect. 11-0.
The Western Conference Finals. Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
Not again. I didn't know you guys were watching last night. Thank you guys. It means a lot. Thank you. What are you talking about, stuff? I had that 27-10 last night, and today, chicken curry. 54 points last week, and the next day, curry stew. Yeah, but stuff, I don't think. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. It means a lot. I lace them up every night for guys like you. Who was that guy? I don't know. Seems like the chicken, though.
ESPN Films presents One and Not Done. Tonight at 9 on ESPN.
The moment that I met you, I thought you were fine, so fine.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel for a taste that shines brighter.
Cars and drivers for the Fast 9 to determine who wins the pole for the Indianapolis 500, beginning to gather at the front of the grid here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Quick reminder, Sunday Night Baseball tonight is in the Motor City. Texas and the Detroit Tigers, part of ESPN Sunday from the Seed Series. The commentators will call the game from the left field stands, which should be fun. We start at 7 Eastern with baseball tonight and stream it, of course, on the ESPN app. to Jan Beekes.
And Will Power with yesterday a heroic effort to be the only Penske car that made it into the Fast Nine. But Will, you just told me these hot conditions are not going to help you. Why?
Well, I mean, it's the same for everyone. The track temp comes up. That's the one thing you can't measure in downforce is what, the heat radiating off the track. It affects the under tray, so it definitely makes it harder. There's no question. Like, you can do a run, and within minutes, as if the sun was behind a cloud comes out, you feel the difference. You go out and suddenly it's much harder. So it's really picking the downforce to stay flat for 4 laps is what's going to give you the most consistent run.
All right, well, hope you stay stuck.
Thank you.
Rick?
I'm standing here with Ed Carpenter, and I guess the question is, you've been watching what's been going on. Do you make many changes based on what you've heard from the other drivers at this point in time?
Not really. I mean, I haven't had any teammates out there yet. My teammates in the shootout with me, so you can watch what people are doing, but it's hard to make decisions based on cars that you know nothing about. So we're going with our experience and our tools that we have, our database, and we've made a decision, and we can make a couple little changes out there after JR goes. We have 2 people in between us, so we'll be able to learn a little something there and see where we are.
Okay, we watched Ryan Hunter-Reay make a pretty impressive run in that Honda. You're a Chevy engine. Do you have something for them today? Do you think you really can pull it off?
I think we can maybe go that fast. I think top speeds are up, and I think some of that's conditions and the wind is making for a better average speed, but it's making for a harder 4-lap run too. So I think we can run about what he ran. I don't know if I can do, don't know if I can do 4 of them.
We're about to find out. Once again, he's been on the pole here twice. Today he's going for number 3.
The things drivers have to think about before they buckle in to qualify, like former 500 winners Tony Kanaan and Scott Dixon. The Fast 9 shootout, Fernando Alonso ready to run with a new engine installed in his car.
Warriors, Spurs. Coverage begins at 8 tomorrow on ESPN.
Catch the MLS Soccer Sunday action on ESPN and FS1.
ESPN Films presents One and Not Done, tonight at 9 on ESPN.
Take a look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived? 'Cause I'm only human, after all. You're only human, after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
The Indy 500, Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ABC.
Sunday Night Baseball, Rangers, Tigers, tonight at 8 on ESPN.
I think because of this narrative that's surrounded him about Russ being a real G, staying there, toughing it out, staying in Oklahoma City, like there is something to that, especially for basketball purists.
The Western Conference Finals. Stream every game live on the ESPN app. Download the ESPN app today.
Not again. I didn't know you guys were watching last night. Thank you guys. It means a lot. Thank you. What are you talking about, stuff? I had that 27-10 last night, and today, chicken curry. 54 points last week, and the next day, curry stew. Yeah, but stuff, I don't think. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. It means a lot. I lace them up every night for guys like you. Who was that guy? I don't know. Seems like the chicken, though.
What do you see? Perfection? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect. 11-0.
The Western Conference Finals. Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN. What do you see? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect.
Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
The moment that I met you, I thought you were fine, so fine.
Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel for a taste that shines brighter.
Just like we practiced.
Okay, we can get started.
Thanks. That was fun.
You're welcome. Nicely done.
Right now, receive up to a $2,000 spring bonus during the Infinity Start Your Own Legacy Spring event.
The month of May is full of open wheel thrills. And on May 28th, the 101st running of the Indianapolis 500. Racing's greatest month on racing's greatest track on ABC.
Start at 11 a.m. Eastern Time next Sunday for the Indianapolis 500. The last few races have been spectacular. No reason to expect next week's will be any different, and we look forward to finding out what chapter in the history book will be written then in this greatest spectacle in racing. Drivers beginning to buckle in for this Fast 9 shootout. Marco Andretti getting ready to go. He'll be the first driver to run. Tony Kanaan will be the second. The 2013 winner, Fernando Alonso, the two-time Formula One champion, will be third to buckle into his car. Alonso, one of the stories of great interest, of course, around the world, internationally. There is J.R. Hildebrand, who was the runner-up in 2011 and one corner away from winning it. Gathering his thoughts as he gets ready to go and qualify. Eddie, you just described this privately to us as you felt like you were watching a tea kettle get ready to boil over.
So much anxiety. Every one of these drivers in the Fast 9 have placed big bets, and the engineers are counting on them to manage to carry through with flat throttle for 4 laps. Every one of them are risking.
We saw yesterday with Sebastian Bourdais what's at stake with these drivers. The reality of when you hang it all out there to try and qualify 4 laps at Indianapolis as fast as you can go. What will today's story be? Who will be on the pole for the 101st Indianapolis 500? There are the first 4 to run. The Fast 9 shootout starts next.
If you love this game, stand for it. Stand behind your club. Stand in awe of the incredible Golazzos, the unbelievable saves, and a crowd united by passion. MLS, stand as one. Catch the MLS Soccer Sunday action today. First on ESPN, it's Minnesota versus LA. Then on FS1, it's Orlando versus New York City.
Home run, Miguel Cabrera.
Sunday Night Baseball. Rangers, Tigers, tonight at 8 on ESPN.
Warriors, Spurs. Coverage begins at 8 tomorrow on ESPN.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
ESPN Films presents One and Not Done. Tonight at 9 on ESPN.
What do you see? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect.
Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN. The Western Conference Finals. Stream every game live on the ESPN app. Download the ESPN app today.
Indy 500, Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ABC. Telecast presented by Firestone.
Scott? Did you possibly switch chairs with me?
No, not me.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Good luck finding your chair, LeBron.
Okay. Okay.
you see? Perfection? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect. 11-0.
The Western Conference Finals. Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
For more than a century, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has pushed man and machine to the edge.
Quick cars. Yeah, now I'm going harder.
These drivers will take to this speedway alone. There is still an opponent to beat. Time. Yesterday, we uncovered the 9 fastest. Today, we identify the quickest of the quick, the one who can, for a split second, control time. Now this is Indianapolis 500 qualifying.
And the Fast 9 shootout about to begin. Those 9 fastest from round 1 of qualifying yesterday now take to the speedway one at a time for 4 laps, 10 miles, to determine who'll be on the pole for the 101st Indianapolis 500-mile race. Alan Bestwick, Eddie Cheever, Scott Goodyear with you. Dr. Jerry Punch, Rick DeBrule, Jan Beekes on pit road. Our entire ABC IndyCar team ready to find out along with you whose names will be on that record book as the front row starters for this year's 500. Here are the 9 drivers and the speeds that they ran yesterday for Andretti Autosports cars. 4 of their 6 entries in the race are in the Fast 9. They'll certainly be tough. Of course, Will Power there representing the powerful Team Penske, and the smaller but powerful Ed Carpenter Racing Team, represented by 2, J.R. Hildebrand and, of course, Carpenter, who set the fastest 4-lap average from a day ago. Marco Andretti is being given the signal to fire his car up and roll out onto the speedway. The format the same as it's been for a long time and for all day. 2 warm-up laps and then 4 laps on the green flag for this one. Track temperature at 114 degrees and the wind still blowing in the same direction as it was as you look at the 3rd generation racer from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, Marco Andretti, of course his father. Michael, with so many close calls here and 4 wins as a team owner in this 500, including a few in recent years, and fielding this car as well for his son Marco.
I sat with Michael just the other day and we were sort of recapping because we raced Formula Fords together back in the 1980s, and we were talking about winning or not winning the Indianapolis 500. Certainly for him now, winning it as an owner, but he said he would almost feel a little bit more relieved if Marco gets a chance to win it and put that trophy on his mantle more than he did, because he knows the pressure a second-generation driver like he has was when he was driving with his dad, with Mario. He said, I felt the pressure, didn't want to admit it. Now for Marco, a 3rd-generation driver, he certainly knows the pressure that Marco has. So Marco's got the pressure of here of turning 4 quick laps, but also the pressure of having the Andretti name.
He definitely has a car underneath him that can do it.
Marco in his 12th Indianapolis 500, of course in his first. He set a tone that his grandfather certainly approved of, came so close to winning the race in 2006. Now the green flag is on for Marco. He started on the front row in 2013 in 3rd position. That is his best start in the 500 so far.
Now, from all the cars we saw running today, the tricky corner is turn 2. There's a little bit of wind that pushes you out towards turn 2. And the other thing that we've seen, Scott, consistently is that the tires tend to fall off towards the end of the run and the times drop. So I think today, to get pole, you're going to have to be not only very quick, but very consistent.
Top speed seemed to be good. As watching the speed in the middle of the turn, that seemed to be very favorable also.
230.659 on his first lap. Expecting, based on what we've seen, you may need to put up 4 in the 231s to get pole position.
Very tidy line coming out of 2, still has a lot of room. to keep those speeds above 230 in 3 and 4.
Second lap for Marco down to the 229s, 229.845.
Before we went to break, we saw Marco sitting with Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Ryan Hunter-Reay really describing what he felt during his run. And there's no doubt that Marco will now transfer information over to his teammates about what he felt during the run, and maybe they can make some tire pressure or wing adjustments before the car goes out for their qualifying run. All the other mechanical settings are done back in the garage area. No changes to springs, shocks, or anything of that nature. Now it's just up to some very small changes on the car, and the rest is up to the driver.
Very good third lap at 230.631. Normally by this point, the drivers have tended to drop off. It's the first time I've seen somebody go faster on their third lap.
As the tires wear and so on, the car gives up a little grip, but Marco maybe making some of those inside adjustments. And we'll see what the fourth lap is. Can't start any worse than 9th in the race. This is the fast 9. But you'd certainly rather be first than 9th. 230.474 miles per hour for Marco Andretti. That's a little faster than he ran yesterday, but then that's been the trend throughout the day of time trials so far. Back after this message and a word from your ABC station.
Warriors, Spurs. Coverage begins at 8 tomorrow on ESPN.
Home run, Miguel Cabrera.
Sunday Night Baseball, Rangers, Tigers, tonight at 8 on ESPN.
Take a look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived? 'Cause I'm only human, after all. You're only human, after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Start your Sunday with a story. E60, Sundays at 9 on ESPN.
As we proceed to give you what you need.
Might you take a role with the Lakers?
If I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I want to be the heir to the throne. That boy can have his own money. He can drive a Maserati. I got paper too.
Okay, and I'm happy to take it.
Man, we playing down with Ice Cube.
You got to do it. But here's the thing, is that if you're the type of person that dishes it out, you better be the type of person that can take it. No. See, you just...
Catch the MLS Soccer Sunday action May 28th. First on ESPN, it's Atlanta versus New York City. Then on FS1, it's Dallas versus Houston.
Not again. I didn't know you guys were watching last night. Thank you guys. It means a lot. Thank you. What are you talking about, Steph? I had that 27-10 last night, and today, chicken curry. 54 points last week, and the next day, curry stew. Yeah, but Steph, I don't think... Thank you guys so much. Thank you. It means a lot. I lace them up every night for guys like you. Who was that guy? I don't know. Seems like the chicken, though.
The Indy 500, Sunday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ABC.
What do you see? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect.
Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN. The Western Conference Finals. Stream every game live on the ESPN app. Download the ESPN app today.
ESPN Films presents One and Not Done, tonight at 9 on ESPN.
What do you see? Perfection? Can the Warriors continue their mastery and secure a historic finals appearance?
Golden State remains perfect. 11-0.
The Western Conference Finals. Warriors, Spurs, Game 4. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
The 2005 pole winner and 2013 race winner, Tony Kanaan, has just taken the green flag. He's on his first lap. We ride along.
Now, Eddie, you and I have experienced this before. Look at the shadow now going into turn 1, so you're actually having to turn in on the darkness, not being able to see the turn, and then coming out of 1 to 2, it brightens back up again. Very difficult at 230 plus miles an hour.
Look at the number Kanaan put up on lap number 1, 231.239.
He's changing gear twice in the lap.
Every team has their strategy on what the downforce level should be, what gears they should run, what gear the driver should select at what part of the track, as Kanaan completes lap number 2 again, over 231 miles an hour, Doc.
Just before climbing in the car, I asked Tony Kanaan about input from other drivers. He said, Max Chilton and Charlie Kimball, my teammates, ran 15 minutes ago at the very end of Group 1. Their input was invaluable. We made changes. I'm making changes as a driver. Both those guys had issues off of turn 2. He said, now, Scott Dixon and I thought about it. We're going to do a split strategy. I'm going one direction. Dixon's going another. We're going to see which one of the two of us is faster based on that input.
It's great when you have so much faith in your teammates. It makes it a lot easier.
Lap 3, just about 230.7. Here's what's been tricky turn 2 on lap 4.
You saw previously Chip Ganassi on the right-hand side. I think by looking at his lips, I think he was saying it's pushing in 2, so that might have been the case. I also think that I heard Tony have a bit of a problem with 3 and 4. Now he's out of 3 towards 4. That last lap just being a hair slower.
Checkered flag for Tony Kanaan. At a 4-lap average of 230.828 miles an hour, a little bit faster than Marco, but will it be fast enough? Marco Andretti standing by with Rick DeBrule.
Indeed, the first of the Fast 9 to qualify. You came in, the first thing you said was that second lap is going to haunt me. Why?
It's pretty obvious. It's slow. But even our top speed was nowhere near what we needed for pole. I only lifted on that one lap. The understeer must have been a gust or something, caught me out, and I adjusted the tools from there. But I kind of had to learn by fire. I didn't really know what the car was going to do till we got there. But these guys, my teammates can adjust from my run, unfortunately. But I think we can win this race from 33rd, but we can do it from 9th for sure.
All right, once again, Marco Andretti in the race, not as well as he'd like, but still right in the first 3 rows.
Now the subject of much attention since he announced that he would bypass the Monaco Grand Prix Formula One race to run Indianapolis. Fernando Alonso on his warm-up lap. After the morning warm-up, his team had to effect an engine change. The McLaren, Honda, and Andretti teammates all jumping in there to get it done in time for the car to make its technical inspection deadline. And now Alonso gets his second experience at qualifying at Indianapolis, his first yesterday when he was 7th fastest, Jan.
When you see that engine change, it has definitely changed the demeanor of this team and Fernando Alonso. I think, Eddie, you were talking about a teapot boiling. There is no question the tension level before Fernando Alonso got into the car much higher than we've seen. He's been so loose, he's been relaxed, but that last-minute engine change and the changes they made on the car really have got him tight. The last visit he had at the car was Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ryan Hunter-Reay told him, I softened my front anti-roll bar in 1, and watch out, the car might be loose in 4. So if you see his right hand come off the wheel, that's what you adjust the front bar with.
All right, Jan, thanks. That little pop you hear is just shifting gears.
He has been absorbing everything around him. Everything that the environment has to give him, he's been absorbing it. This is a driver of incredible talent who's taken a lot of risks to come here racing in Indianapolis. I am in awe of what he's managed to do today. So I'm sure that if his car will do it, he'll be right up at the front.
First lap over 231. See on our tracker where the yellow arrow is, he's currently tracking second fastest as real-time compared at this point in the run to what Tony Kanaan has already posted.
238 miles per hour on the entrance to turn 3. You can see that on the bottom right-hand side.
Jumped up to first, tracking at the moment.
And he's Oh, he dropped to 2:29 coming out. That's still the fastest we've seen coming out of 4.
Second lap, 2:31.440, faster on lap 2. Maybe that tension Jan was talking about, taking a minute to just settle in. I know it's only 0.3 of a mile an hour, but
you heard Marco talk about adjusting the tools inside the cockpit. No doubt Fernando Alonso is doing that as he goes around the circuit. The tools we talk about are a weight jacker to change the weight amongst the car on the 4 wheels and also the anti-roll bars. But a driver has to be right on top of what he needs to do to make sure he makes the right decision.
white flag, lap 3 complete. 2:31.475, faster than the lap before.
And I wouldn't say he's a slow learner at anything in a race car. This is amazing. This is his second qualifying attempt.
Half a lap to go.
Perfect line.
Checkered flag. Fernando Alonso to the top of the board. 231.300 miles an hour. All 4 laps over 231.
There are.
Kanaan is now kicked back to second. Doc?
And standing by with Tony Kanaan, just watched Alonso's run. TK, you said your teammates, Max Chilton, Charlie Kimball, they had a push in turn 2, but their input helped you. How so in your run?
Well, we kind of made a change for what we had in comparison to the run. I'm not happy with my run, but it is what it is. I got to thank my sponsors, NTT and Chip Ganassi, for giving me the opportunity to qualify one more time. But yeah, it could have been a little bit better. But I won from 12 here, so I don't think it will be a problem. We're inside the Fast 9, so.
Okay, Tony Kanaan not happy with his run. Remember, a split strategy. He went one way, Dixon went another. Well, that helps Scott Dixon when he goes to run.
We will find out. Well, we know there's been a lot of interest in this man's decision in an off year for his Formula One team to skip that Monaco race and come here and try his hand at Indianapolis. He has acquitted himself very well.
And he still has the race to go. But I know for a fact that millions of Formula One fans across the globe are following what Alonso is doing. And so far, he has not put a foot wrong. That's amazing. Two-time Formula One champion.
So now Will Power comes out onto the racetrack for Team Penske. Power, who has a best start of second here back in 2010, entering his 10th Indianapolis 500, was the runner-up in 2015, picked up his 30th win in the Verizon IndyCar Series in the race they ran here on the road course Saturday ago. And now Power looking to show if they've been able to massage a little more magic into this machine.
And his warm-up lap, again, just sort of soft pedaling it, as we call, on the out lap until he comes around to get his final lap before he takes the green. So it really tells me that they're trying to keep the heat out of the tires before the green flag flies. And here he goes to start his run.
Always quick in qualifying, Power.
We know he'll get everything out of the machine there is to be gotten.
Another one of these drivers that started his career in road course racing, started driving a sedan car, a Datsun 1200, back just outside of his hometown of Toowoomba, Australia. And entered into racing a Formula Ford car, a small single-seater that his dad had, because his dad raced cars also. And after a point in time, made the decision to move to Europe to further his career. And was very successful in Europe, showed speed, had an opportunity to test a Formula One car. Came to America and really started to make his mark, and has done just a tremendous job over time.
High 230s on his first lap.
And Penske is powered by Chevy. Big battle going on this afternoon between Chevy and Honda.
Let's see what kind of momentum Will is able to maintain from lap 2 to lap 3. Just barely in the 230s on that lap, 230.017 for the second circuit around.
Having no problem around turn 2. Just seems to lack a little bit of speed.
And very smooth. As we've said earlier, qualifying trim is one thing, race trim is another, with the drafting and everything else that goes into it, and the changing of the setup of the car to match the changing conditions throughout the day. They'll be a factor.
Oh yeah.
Third lap, 229.898 for Will Power. So right now tracking as the slowest of the 4 that have run. Still another lap to go. New father this year. Son Bo, born back in late December. Will talking about a newfound wrinkle to his fitness regimen too, after some difficulties he experienced at the beginning of 2016. Found he had some food allergies that were affecting him. Changed his diet. Said he feels a whole lot better than he did back then. Checkered flag for Power. He will be 4th out of 4. 230.200 is his 4-lap average, and Fernando Alonso remains first. Let's hear from the world champ with Rick.
And the first thing he said when he came in was, I thought I had a little more left in the car. Where did you lose it?
I think today the car was better than yesterday, better balance, and I felt more confident also this morning on the practice. But yeah, we had a overboost problem now in the last corner, so the engine is like hitting the brakes out of the corner, and I think I lost a little bit of speed into the main straight. But it's the way it is. Nothing we can change now. The guys did an amazing job this morning. They changed the engine in a record time in 1 hour and a half. So yeah, happy to be here in qualifying, and the car performed again perfectly okay.
Everybody's been talking about turn 2 being pretty tough today. Did you have any moments there?
Every single lap, so I had 4 moments.
Okay, so what have you learned about this place that you can take into the race?
I mean, you know, the place is this is the biggest race in the world. So, and I felt that the first time I came here, but obviously the circuit was empty, so you feel that something, but. Now the qualifying arrive, and you know the speed pick up on the event. I think seeing all the fans and the place, you know, getting up to speed, I think it's even more amazing. So looking forward to next Sunday.
All right, Fernando Alonso currently #1, shooting for that pole.
He said that there's a lot of fans today. He is in for a shocker on Sunday morning. 300 whatever thousand people. It's like a different track.
Speed's picking up here. By the way, when the rules changed, the configuration of the cars changed after 1996, when the track record that stands today was set. The fastest pole speed since then was 231.725 miles an hour. Helio Castroneves did that in 2003. Will that be in jeopardy today? We'll see. 231.3 is the Alonso average now. Here's a man that proved that never give up. In the Indianapolis 500, when things set you back, find a way. Alexander Rossi had a solid car last year, but got kicked back to the back of the pack a couple of times by problems. Then when fuel to the finish became a question, his team found a way to get him to work it, to make one less pit stop than everyone else. And he has his likeness on the Borg Warner Trophy now, and has a very solid first lap.
Oh! Okay.
Jan?
And the reason that's happening, he had a radio communication just as he left the pits. We need 1/2 less turn wing if you want the pole. He says, let's go for it. He's out there with a little less wing, hanging on, seeing if he can keep that speed. He said, I want to do it, take it out.
Wow. So now he'll adjust his line a little bit, turning into 2, in a hope that it will compensate for the fact that the wind is pushing him out towards the exit of the corner. Here we are.
A little bit edgy coming off the turn. You hear the RPMs drop down mid-turn. Will that affect his speed? We'll watch and see.
Despite that moment on the last lap, he was still over 231 for a speed.
can hear the RPMs die just a little bit. Smartly goes down to 5th gear. Keep that engine in the power band where it produces most horsepower.
2:31.4, lap to go, tracking first.
Here we are, corner, turn 2.
So for Alonso, he's going to go the gamut of emotions here about maybe possibly being on pole, and just the waddle there. Did you see that coming off the turn? Back in, just sort of stepping out on him a little bit, keeps his foot in the gas.
Tracking first.
So the pole sitter for just a minute or two.
How satisfying is this going to be for Rossi to knock Alonso off pole? Oh my good, what a great story. Well done.
231.487 miles an hour, the 4-lap average. Alexander Rossi is now the leader in Indianapolis 500 qualifying. Doc?
And with 2014 Series champion Will Power, another one of the Penske efforts, and Will quicker than yesterday. That's the good news. Bad news, not quite quick enough. Put this run in perspective.
I mean, that was all we had. Maybe could have ran a little short of gear. Maybe I should have used 5th and not 6th. But we knew that in order to use that 6, that's the only way we were going to beat the Hondas if we had the speed, but we didn't. That's as good as we got. But it's a long race.
Long race. Qualifying day 1, but the race day, these guys are already talking about, going to be a different effort from Team Penske.
All right, Doc, thanks. J.R. Hildebrand next to go. He started to leave, and the car stalled as he tried to get going. So these cars don't carry onboard starters. You see they plug the starter in, the electric starter from the back of the car, and get the engine spun up, and away he goes.
Ed Carpenter's teammate.
One of the better stories from yesterday, the Ed Carpenter Racing teammates, Hildebrand and Carpenter himself, had not shown perhaps the flat-out speed as some others. But when it came time in qualifying yesterday, both cars in the Fast 9 and with a chance at the pole here today. See Hildebrand originally from Sausalito, California, now living in Colorado, as Carpenter, the 2-time pole winner, gets buckled into his machine and awaits. He'll be the last driver to go as they run in inverse order from the speeds they posted yesterday.
And he will be waiting for information from his teammate, and he might make that last little adjustment to compensate for how the track has changed. Look at that shadow that you were talking about, Scott. It's getting bigger and bigger, and then all of turn 1, all of the entry of turn 1 is in a shadow.
And generally, that's when they say when the shadows start to appear and the track starts to cool down late in the day, the speeds start to increase. So we'll wait to see if running late in the queue, as we call it, is going to be beneficial. We certainly assume so.
All the years I ran here, I never saw the track getting slower towards the end of the afternoon. It always got faster. It just depended on what the wind was doing. And the wind has been very consistent, just pushing a little bit into turn 2.
There is the green flag for J.R. Hildebrand. The track temperature has dropped to 110 degrees, so a little bit down from what it was before.
And when the track does that, it generally gives the car a little bit more grip every time the temperature takes a step down. And that just gives security for the driver when you're sitting in the seat, gives you a little bit more confidence. And if you thought that you might have to lift just a little bit during the turn, during your run, to make sure that the car was in a safe zone, as we call it, that generally goes away because you have a little bit more confidence, a little bit more grip, and you'll be flat on the gas.
Lap 1 for Hildebrand, 2:31.5. Great first lap. Jan?
That is a fantastic lap, and consider, you just mentioned a track temperature of 110. When they qualified yesterday, both these Carpenter cars, remember, we were delayed because of rain. It was well after 6 p.m., and the track temperature was under 100. 97 for one car, 95 for the other. They said the key to our speed was lower temperatures. Now, they're pulling it off at 110. This is amazing speed for the Carpenter team.
Absolutely, on that is the second fastest opening lap we've seen in this Fast 9 so far. Here's lap number 2. 2:31 flat, 2:31.010 for Hildebrand, tracking third at the moment.
And Eddie, you always said, and you said this today, it's the consistency in the run saw previously, even with willpower, times are just starting to drop off a little bit as you continue running. All comes down to the aerodynamics on the car.
He has a lot of track left. He's quite a ways away from the wall.
Third lap. Down into the high 230s. 239.41. Tracking third. Out of 6. Whoa! Trouble there off turn 2.
Oh, they really are getting the most out of these tires, aren't they? The last lap always seems to be a hard one.
Alan, you talked about before the rear wing on cars. If you look at the rear wing on the back of J.R. Hildebrand's car, there just really isn't any other noticeable winglets sticking on those like we've seen on some of the other cars. So a little less downforce possibly on that car.
Down to about 230 flat on the 4th lap, so it brings the 4-lap average below 231. Watch the trouble off of turn number 2.
Now you can see the car, that's got a little bit of a slide, guys, and as a driver, you don't want to take your foot off the gas. He kept his foot into it, and it just arced off smoothly, but I can tell you that you're fighting with your right foot whether I take my foot off the gas or not. Let's watch this. Oh,
he didn't actually touch that.
No, he didn't.
Nope. All right, so Hildebrand third behind Alonso and Alexander Rossi, who is currently first, Rick.
And Alexander Rossi had the nerve-wracking experience of going out for 4 laps. Now you got the nerve-wracking experience of watching everybody else go after your time. Let's talk about your laps, because they took a little bit of wing out, making it again a little bit dicier out there. How hard was that run?
Yeah, it was hard. It was a lot harder than yesterday. Track temps were up, so same for everyone. It was okay run. Lap 2 was not great, so that could have been better, and I'll be pretty frustrated if we miss it by that amount.
All right, how hard is turn 2? Everybody's been talking about it. Are you just hanging on for dear life? How do you get through it?
Yeah, actually, turn 2 is not hard. It's just easy to make a mistake because you have the tailwind from 1 to 2, so the front can take out pretty easily. Actual fear is 3 and 4 because the wind is the other way and it's on the nose. So, and you have to have the aero balance to deal with turn 2. So 3 and 4 becomes quite tricky.
All right, once again, Alexander Rossi. A year ago, he finished first. Now he's waiting to see if he can start first in the Indy 500.
All right, Rick, thanks. So 3 drivers to go to settle out the front row starting spots in the pole position for the Indianapolis 500. Here is Scott Dixon, one of the best. 2008 winner in this race. He's a 2-time pole winner for this race, 2008 and 2015. Driving for Chip Ganassi Racing and coming here to take the green flag and begin his 4-lap trip around the speedway. Little downshift there.
And a classic line running just off the wall, going into turn 1, then flaring up to the wall before turn in. Sort of reminds me of the classic lines guys like Arie Luyendyk and Rick Mears used to run here. Probably 2 of the best guys that have really driven in the modern era. Again, a downshift, trying to keep that engine in the power band.
.595 on the lap speed for Scott Dixon.
That last lap in turn 2 is the fastest corner we have seen in turn 2 since we've been studying the qualifying.
Well, we heard the report from down below that Tony Kanaan went one direction, Scott Dixon went the other. There's his wife Emma on the right-hand side, full of excitement. And Jan, you have a report?
Yes, in fact, they did not run. Any of the Ganassi cars did not run earlier today. They had a lot of confidence. They adjusted for the conditions, and you are correct. The Kanaan car and the Dixon car went slightly different directions. I talked to Scott just before he got in the car. He had confidence, and it is delivering right now. He's got to finish this lap, but this is an incredible start for Scott Dixon.
2 in the 232s. Wow. 1.5 to go for Chip Ganassi. Watching his driver, Scott Dixon.
Such a disciplined driver.
Another in the 232s.
And the roar of the crowd. Will they get through turn 2?
Got through turn 2 with 2 feet to spare.
Oh.
That was perfection.
Checkered flag for Scott Dixon. And a new number to the top of the board. 232.164 miles an hour for 4 laps around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He just finds a way to get everything out of a car that can be gotten.
With no fuss.
Scott Dixon, the 2008 winner of the Indianapolis 500, will he lead this year's Field of the Green a week from today. We're on ABC with our telecast presented by Firestone, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, the 101st running of the greatest spectacle in racing. Scott Dixon to the top of the board. Doc?
Then here with J.R. Hildebrand, and he and other drivers just shaking their head watching Dixon's run. J.R., let's talk about your run. 3 really good laps. Then on lap 4, a hold-your-breath moment coming off 2. You missed the wall by a good 1/8 of an inch, but what happened?
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of hold-your-breath moments there on the last lap. But I got to say, I think we got 2 of the best qualifiers around here going out right now. Scott just showed everybody what's going on. Ed Carpenter about to go out. I just want to say, like, when people talk about what we do here now and say, like, oh, you know, these guys wouldn't have been able to do what Foyt and Mears and those guys did back in the day, these 2 dudes are about to show everybody what's going on. So big props to these guys. Huge, you know, thanks to the ECR team for what we were able to do out there. You know, we're locked in the top 5 here to start the race. You know, really excited to see where Ed's going to end up, and excited for the whole preferred freezer and the sort of bow tie brigade. I'm glad we were able to haul a couple up there.
J.R. Hildebrand thinking maybe his guy, his teammate Ed Carpenter, has something for Dixon. We're going to find out in a minute.
All right, Doc, thanks. So there is Scott Dixon with just 2 drivers to wait through to see if he will claim a 3rd pole position for the Indianapolis 500. Takuma Sato will be fast, driving for the Andretti Autosport team that has put 4 cars into the Fast 9, the 40-year-old from Tokyo and Indianapolis now, coming down to see what his car feels like and see what he can do. First lap, 2:32.171 for Sato. Dixon's first lap was 2:32.5.
Well, he's right up in the wall, right from the beginning.
Using all the track right down below the white line in the middle of the turn. So now just calm yourself down. If you have to adjust inside the car to make your car work better, now is the time to do it, and you need consistency throughout this whole run. Jan?
And the downforce level they chose is not as low as Alexander Rossi, but not as high as Marco Andretti. So they are banking on the fact with Takuma Sato that the final 2 laps, if this downforce level is the right level, they're hoping he won't drop off as much.
Drop down to 2:31.5 and almost got the wall there in turn 2.
And that's only the 2nd lap, the 3rd lap.
Whenever I think of Takuma, I think about his run against Dario Franchitti. Last lap going into turn 4 of the Indianapolis 500. Made a move, didn't make it happen. Ended up hitting the outside turn 1 wall, but he gave it a great effort.
Here we go. Last time in turn 2.
Got the wall that time.
Yeah, got the wall twice. Now he's got to turn into turn 3.
But he didn't lift. He just keeps going.
He's not paid to lift right now.
still tracking to be third fastest after an adventurous run.
How about that?
230 miles an hour. Takuma Sato, 231.365.
Amazing.
Rick?
Well, we're standing by with Scott Dixon, who watched that entire run at Takuma Sato and grimaced a few times. Well, let's talk to you about your run. It's simple. Where did you find that speed?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, we knew the conditions were much better for today, and we took a little bit of a gamble trimming out. And you know, everybody at Chip Ganassi Racing has been doing a fantastic job. And the NTT data car was fast. Hopefully, we're fast enough. You know, we know Ed's extremely good around here. But when I saw that first lap, I was a little shocked myself. But I had to breathe a little bit in too to keep the tires, the front tires on the car, which is where we saw that degradation in the speed. So. I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. But I'm stoked for the whole 9-car crew and everybody in TT Data and Chip Ganassi Racing. TK's been a big help too. Obviously, he ran earlier, could let us know what was going on there. But this place is nerve-wracking, man. Especially when you don't. You know, I've been in the car all day. You know, the last time I was qualifying last night, and then you sit around watching everybody. You see people touching the wall. You see, you know, the highs and lows and the extremes. And man. Oh, we'll see. One more to go, but it's just crazy. I love this place. I love the fans here. You can hear them in the background when these big speeds go up, and obviously when people get close to the wall. But man, it's emotional.
All right, now all I can do is wait.
With one car to go, Ed Carpenter from Indianapolis, a 2-time pole winner for the 500 on the track now. Ed squeezed some speed that perhaps none of us saw coming yesterday to put himself on top of the board. Can he do it one more time? Did they make the right calculations to meet the conditions for this last run of the day?
He's lucky to be last because I think that's as good as the track's going to be, but he's really going to have to squeeze a lot out of this Chevy. He did it yesterday.
Green flag. 4 laps to go. So the real-time telemetry, as luck would have it, has gone down on this car. We'll keep you posted the good old-fashioned way. We'll see the times and tell you as they come by.
And
apologize
Eddie,
for that.
And quite a lot of space away from the wall, not only on entry to turn 1, but also on the exit.
You can bet he's taken a lot of wing out of this car to try to be as fast as he can, and he is a master at qualifying for the 500.
It's a good lap. It's going to be a good lap. 2:32.180.
Listen to the crowd.
Remember, Dixon's first lap was 2:32.5. Carpenter right now tracking second fastest to turn 3.
As we've said all day, the consistency. He started off with some space away from the wall. So he's got some room for the car to start sliding. Let's see what he does.
That's 2:31.9. Still tracking second, but got work to do.
Still some room left on the exit at 2.
Less and less each time.
In another lap, we'll know if it's Dixon or Carpenter as Ed comes to the white flag. There's the tracker back for you. 2:31.5 on that third lap. Checkered flag, Ed Carpenter will start second in the Indy 500, and Scott Dixon is your pole winner. All right, Rick, he had one to go, and we talked to him a minute ago. It's official now.
Well, congratulations. The good news is you didn't have to wait long. Chip Ganassi comes up, gives some congratulations. They have got the pole here for the 101st running of the Indy 500. I got to ask, how does it feel?
It feels damn good. Thanks, mate. I got a lot to.
Nice job, buddy. Nice job.
Nice work, Chris. Trim the car, and like even sitting before we go out there, I was like, man, I think we've trimmed too much. You know, should we put some more downforce in the car? And I did have to lift a little bit, but that first lap was just huge. So I can't thank the team enough. You know, they've been working so hard. This season has started off great. You know, it's a good points day today as well. But the emotions that you get here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway is crazy. It's so crazy. But this is job one. Obviously, the real deal is coming up in a week's time, and that's where we've got to push even harder and try and capitalize more.
Now, you hear a lot of people saying, you know, you can win from any place. But how important is it to be up front at the start of this race? First, got to get hugs from the kids.
The pole is its own race here. You know, it's its own weekend. It's its own deal. So, you know, the significance of winning the pole is big as well. But obviously, we're here to win the race. If you can start near the front. Back in 2008, we won from the pole, so hopefully we can replicate that year.
I guess technically we got 15 minutes here.
Well, yeah, I don't know what the deal is on that. I don't think anybody else can run again, but huge thank you, obviously, to NTT Data, you know, the team, everybody, and Chip Ganassi, all my teammates, and Chip, you know, always the man, and Honda bringing the power. That was a huge day for us to start with. Let's bring on next week.
All right, Scott Dixon, once again, an incredible run, faster than even he expected.
What a great family moment. Different than most, surrounded by photographers snapping pictures. He said it himself. He started on the pole when he won the race back in 2008. He will start first today. Will the result be the same about this time of day 1 week from now?
Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to shut that off now. Check out some of my other videos if you like it, and maybe next time I'll stream the Indy 500. Yeah, we'll see you guys later.